2014 nang kinuha ng DPWH ang bahagi ng lupang pag-aari ng pamilya ni Aling Esperanza para sa road widening project sa Santa Rosa, Laguna dahil may karapatan ng gobyerno na kunin ang lupa para sa isang public works project. Pumayag naman sila sa expropriation ng 25 square meters ng lupa kahit ito'y nagdulot ng abala nung ginagawa pa ang kalsada.
Everyday na nagtatrabaho sila, alikabok kasi tabing kalsada po, alikabok, init, pag umuulan, pasok ang tubig, sobrang abala talaga.
Ang masaklap, tiniis na nga nila ang abala at nagsumite ng mga requirements para mabayaran sa lupang kinuha ng gobyerno. Kinailangan pa nilang maghintay ng matagal bago mabayaran.
Nakumpleto namin yung hinihingi nilang requirements. Sana naman pansinin nila kami.
Binaliwala na ho kami na hindi po dapat. Kasi may karapatan po kami, amin po ito, may titulo po ito.
Good day everyone, I'm here in front of you to discuss 1987 Philippine Constitution, Article 3, Bill of Rights, Section 9 and 10. Objectives. At the end of the discussion, the viewer should be able to determine or pinpoint the rights to private property and its connection to just compensation. The next is, know the rights to eminent domain. Next, understand the meaning of obligation of contracts and its limitations and identify what does impairment means. Article 3, Section 9, the right to just compensation. Private property shall not be taken for public use without just compensation. This is with connection with the inherent rights of the state, specifically the right of eminent domain. What is eminent domain? Eminent domain is the power of state to take private property by the payment of just compensation. Example, Amadeo as well as Indang is currently making a project to create passage from the municipalities that will be used for more convenient and accessible means of transportation. With this as the inherent right of the state, the government look for possible land properties to be utilized in the making of the roadway, which is called rights of eminent domain. Just compensation. The amount to be paid for expropriate property shall be determined by the proper court based on the fair market value at the time of the taking. Example, in Sabutan Silang, Cavite, there is a project which is road widening. In effect, some of the properties beside the roads are being sliced off. As per Article 3, Section 9 of 1987 Philippine Constitution, private property shall not be taken for public use without just compensation. And so, the government had consulted with the court about the fair market value of the properties affected by the project and paid a just amount for the owners of the private properties. There are situations in which the government will need more space for the development of the roads and other areas for the benefit of the greater population. There are two limitations with the power of eminent domain. Number one is the purpose of taking must be for public use and just compensation must be given to the owner of the private property. Article 3, Section 10. No impairment clause. No law impairing the obligation of contract should be passed. According to a ruling of the Supreme Court, the Article 3, Section 10 aims to safeguard the integrity of contracts against unwarranted interference of state. Before we understand what this section means, let us know the following terms. What is the meaning of contract? A contract is the meaning of minds between two persons whereby one binds himself with respect to others to give something or to render some services. A contract is an agreement between private parties which contains specific terms between involved parties in which there is a promise to do something in return for a valuable benefit. What is the meaning of obligation? Obligation is the juridical necessity to give, to do or not to do. The obligation of the contract is the tie that binds the parties to each other. What is obligation? It is a moral or legal duty of a party to perform or not to perform some action. Example, you are obliged to pay a certain amount or to do certain thing which is specified in a contract. What is the meaning of impairment? Impairment is anything that diminishes the efficacy of the contract or when the terms and conditions are changed, altered by law or by party without the consent of the other party, thereby weakening the position or rights. It simply means that terms listed in the contract are changed or altered by law or party without the consent of other party. What is the limitations? The right guaranteed under the section is however not absolute because a contract valid at the time of its execution may be legally modified or even completely invalidated by a subsequent law. If the law is a proper exercise of police power, it will prevail over the contract. We must know the limitation of this right. There is actually no absolute guarantee on this right when a subsequent or a later law is being passed, provided that the law is a proper exercise of police power. What is the meaning of obligation of contract and when it's impaired by law? To perform their understanding according to its terms or intent, if the agreement is not contrary to law, morals, good customs, and public policy. Now, we can say that there is an impairment if a law changes the terms of a contract between the parties. Example, if imposes new conditions, exempts with the agreements or withdraw solutions for the enforcement of the rights of the parties. Thank you and God bless.